Hello there, and welcome back. Today, we're drawing an iris flower with a fountain pen. And I love this flower because it looks complicated at first, but once we break it down into simple shapes, it becomes such a beautiful exercise for practicing lines. By the end of this video, you'll not only have an iris drawing, but you'll also have practiced line weight variation, broken shading, texture, tons of lines, and those little imperfect marks that make pen and ink feel alive. So grab your sketchbook, your pen, and let's draw together. Let's begin with the simplest structure possible. First, I'm placing a soft oval at the center, and with these lines on each side, I'm marking where the petals will fall, as well as the stem. Now, I'm slowly building the petals around that structure. For the standards, which are the 3 inner petals that stand upward, I want the lines to move in that vertical direction, but not too stiffly. Iris petals have this beautiful elegance. They stand, but they still feel soft. So I'm letting the contour lines curve a little, almost like a fabric. For the folds, the 3 outer parts that hang down, I'm allowing the petals to open wider and drop lower. These petals are very important because they give the flower its dramatic shape. And this is where we can begin adding more personality. As you can see, some edges can be wavy, some folds can tuck behind other petals, some areas can feel heavier, especially near the center. And remember, the sketch is just a guide. It's not a contract. If while drawing you notice that a petal needs to move differently, let it move. Flowers are organic, and sometimes the most beautiful parts of a drawing come from allowing the shape to breathe. If you're drawing along with me, let me know in the comments what flower you'd like us to study next. And if you enjoy slow and detailed botanical drawing tutorials, consider subscribing. I'm building this channel as a quiet place to practice, observe, and fall in love with flowers through pen and ink. For today's drawing, I'm using a transparent fountain pen. This kind of pen is sometimes called a demonstrator-style fountain pen because you can see the inside mechanism and the ink reservoir. We're going to begin inking by outlining our drawing using line weight variation. What that means is that not all of our lines will have the same thickness. Instead, we'll gently vary the pressure of the pen to create lines that are sometimes thinner and sometimes slightly thicker. A trick I often use is I create shorter lines on the areas I want more depth, and then I connect them, creating a second layer. As you can see, I'm placing thicker lines in the folds. Now, with a fountain pen, this variation comes from how you move your hand, the angle of the nib, the speed of your stroke, and the amount of pressure you apply. You don't need to force it, just allow the pen to respond naturally. But if you're using a fine liner or a ballpoint pen, this trick will definitely come in handy. So as we outline, think of it less as tracing and more as guiding the eye, letting some lines feel stronger and some others softer. And now, let's practice some longer lines. For longer lines, try moving your whole arm instead of just your wrist. When we draw only from the wrist, our range of motion is smaller, which often makes long lines feel tight, wobbly, or over-controlled. But when you engage with your arm, moving from the elbow or even your shoulder, your motion becomes smoother, more fluid, and more confident. Think of it like this: your wrist is great for small details, but your arm is what gives you those beautiful, continuous flowing lines. Now, we're going to start shading. Instead of filling areas in, we're going to build our shadows with lines, placing them only where the form naturally turns away from the light. So before adding any marks, take a moment to observe. Where do the petals fold? Where do they tuck behind another petal? Where does the flower feel deeper or heavier? Those are your shadow areas. Notice that I'm not filling everything evenly. Some petals need more contrast. Some edges need to stay soft. Some folds need just a few lines to be understood. A good question to ask yourself while shading is, where do I want the viewer's eye to go? For this iris, I want the center to feel rich and dimensional, almost as if it's catching a direct beam of light. To create that effect, I'm going to build the strongest contrast around it. I'll preserve a fair amount of white space in the center, letting the paper act as light, and then gradually introduce more shadows and textures as I move outward into the side petals. That contrast will help the flower feel more alive. And by the way, this iris was actually a request from the community. There have been so many flower requests lately that I made a poll over on Instagram. And it was honestly a nail biter. The numbers were changing by the minute. At the end, there was a tie between iris and hydrangea. So today, we're drawing the iris, and next week, we'll draw a hydrangea. So if you haven't joined me on Instagram yet, you're very welcome to come over. I feel like the communication with the community flows a little more dynamically there. And if you're here because you voted for the iris, thank you. This one's for you. And talking about community, I also wanted to share something very special. I recently opened a Patreon, and this was actually an idea that came from the community itself. I started receiving messages from people asking if I had one, and honestly, I felt so flattered. So I finally decided to create a little space where I can share more behind-the-scenes content, updates about the book I'm writing, and exclusive tutorials. So if you enjoy my work and would like to support this channel more closely, I'll leave the link in the description. And truly, whether you join or simply watch these videos, thank you. Your presence here already means so much. And back to our drawing. This is a really good exercise because the iris asks for so many types of lines. Long lines for the stem, curved lines for the petals, short lines for texture, broken lines for softness, and darker layer lines for depth. So as you draw, don't rush into making it look finished. Let each line teach your hands something. Something I find beautiful about the iris is that its name is connected to the Greek goddess Iris, who was associated with the rainbow and acted as a messenger between heaven and earth. Because irises come in so many colors, the name feels very fitting. And visually, I think that makes sense too. The iris has this messenger-like quality. It feels expressive, almost like it's opening, folding, and speaking through movement. One of the reasons I love drawing irises in pen and ink is because they naturally have so much texture. If you look closely, the petals aren't smooth. They have these delicate veins, folds, and soft ruffles. And those lines are actually functional in nature. They guide pollinators towards the center of the flower, which I think is so beautiful because in drawing, we're doing something very similar. We're using lines to guide the viewer's eye to lead them through the form, towards the center, towards the story of the flower. As you can see, we're now moving into what is probably my favorite part of the process. This is where the drawing really begins to come alive. And if you're drawing with me using a fountain pen, notice that when you turn the nib, you get the thinner lines, which we're going to use now for finer details. In this part, we're adding contrast, a bit of drama, and a sense of depth. And this is where you start to feel the flower instead of just describing it. So I'm beginning to build more density with my lines along the sides of the petals. For the falls, I'm going to start creating a rich texture. I'm placing the lines closer together, layering them slightly, allowing those areas to feel heavier and more grounded. And by doing that, I'm intentionally creating a stronger contrast toward the center of the flower. That's where I want the viewer's eye to go. That's where the light is gently hitting. So instead of darkening the center, I'm protecting it. I'm leaving more white space there, letting the paper act as light and allowing everything around it to support that glow. It's a bit like creating a spotlight, not by adding brightness, but by deepening the shadows around it. And this is something you can always come back to in your drawings. Where do you want the eye to rest? Where is your light coming from? Once you answer that, your lines begin to have intention, and the drawing starts to feel much more alive. And if this part is helping you understand how to use lines to build texture and depth, don't forget to like this video. It really helps this channel reach more artists who are learning to trust their lines and enjoy the process. And I also want to take a moment to say thank you for supporting this small and still very young channel. Please know that I read all of your comments, and I truly respond to all of them as soon as I can. Your ideas, your suggestions, and your kind words mean more to me than you know. You really do make my day. And let's not forget about our third black fall petal, the one we're only insinuating by giving it a subtle shadow. We can do that by only placing some diagonal, space-consistent lines in the shape. Now, I'm adding the last details. A few darker accents, more texture in the folds, and some final lines in the stem. And this is the promise of today's exercise. We didn't begin with a complicated flower. We began with an oval, two small ears, two falling lines, and a stem. From there, we built direction, the volume, the folds, the texture, and finally, expression. So if you ever feel intimidated by a flower, try to simplify it first. Look at the center, look for the direction of the petals, look for what rises and what falls. The details can come later. Thank you so much for drawing this iris with me. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment telling me if you're excited for next week's hydrangea. And as always, thank you for watching. See you next time.